euro dollar is that euro dollar will stay in a big range. In a big range, I mean between 104 and 111.50, but we'll have a one spike of volatility with these French elections.
We have the French elections on the horizon, and populism is trending in politics right now. How will this election affect the euro against the dollar?
You know, many people are convinced that political uncertainty in Europe is negative for the euro. But the reality is that very often these political events have a different impact on the markets than those previously expected. You know, last year we had, with Brexit and Trump, the bourses were supposed to dive in both cases, but in fact, they both sparkled a really strong rally. So, okay, however, we can see, I mean, when one is looking at the volatility surface, we see the spike in this volatility surface, and that is showing that investors are really worried about the result of French elections. And regardless of the result, the euro will react, at least short term. You know, however, even if Le Pen, even with Le Pen, you know, I mean, it will be very difficult for her to get out of the euro. And even if she wins, the long-term impact on the euro might be really negligible.
So how are investors preparing for the possible risk?
Naturally, you know, many people are really worried that Marine Le Pen could have a negative impact on the euro. And in fact, from the volatility surface, from the euro volatility surface, we see a spike of implied volatility at the nearest maturity to the elections. So, I mean, when one can see this graph, the graph shows that investors are really worried for the depreciation of the euro, and they are willing to pay more than its fair value for purchasing the protection with put options. So, in the red spike in the graph, I mean, there you can see, and it tells us that in relative terms, the puts for the French elections are the most expensive ones. So, I mean, talking about my view for euro dollar is that euro dollar will stay in a big range. In a big range, I mean between 104 and 111.50, but we'll have a one spike of volatility with these French elections. So, I mean, how one can play this? My recommendation as a play is to be long volatility. I mean, one study or one example of the strategy that I would recommend is to short butterfly. That means, I mean, this strategy enables you to make profits with increased volatility. So, I mean, if you look at the diagram of P&L of this strategy, it's like a letter V, which means that it has a negative P&L in case of small movement in prices, and has a positive P&L in case of big movements in both directions. So this means that you don't have to bet who will win, if Marine Le Pen or Macron.
And finally, how do you see the euro dollar for the rest of 2017? Some strengthening perhaps?
Well, I mean, firstly, I would mention that short term, it might easily reach one of the two price levels, which is 104 and 108. Very likely, this move will surprise many investors, and it might even increase more the volatility. But from the longer point, yes, correct. but probably strengthening, probably less than many people expect. Because it will be very important to see how euro-dollar will react near the boundaries of the big range, and this will be the very important thing to consider. But even maybe in the middle of this year, we might see some events that will set the tone for the rest of the year.
Well, thank you so much, Diana, for speaking with me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And thank you at home for watching. Don't forget to click back for more interviews like this. Goodbye for now.